Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, hope you're doing well. My name is Callixte, I'm a math teacher. Today we are going to learn together mathematics for Senior 2. Remember we are on unit number 3. Unit number 3. And this unit is all about simultaneous. Simultaneous linear equations and inequalities. Inequalities. This is the unit that we will be discussing, but it's not everything. The focus of today, it is point 3.1, only simultaneous. Simultaneous linear equations. This is the focus that we have today. Now, the question is, what is simultaneous linear equation? Or what is equation? That's what you have to ask yourself first. When we try to define a simultaneous linear equation, I have one design for you. You see, the question that we have to ask ourselves, what is a linear equation? Before you tackle and go in details about this point of simultaneous linear equations, you need to understand what is linear equation. Linear equation, with the definition that we have here, it tells us that a linear equation, as you can see over here, a linear equation is an equation for a line, but that line has to be a straight line. When we talk about a straight line, it's, for example, like this ruler, as it is, it's a straight line. Now, from there, you can give yourself an example of a straight line. As you can see on this Cartesian plane, I have given you an example of a straight line in this other color. For example, if you are given y, which is equal to 3.5 minus 0.5x, this is an example of a simultaneous linear equation which gives this line as you have it on this design. But remember, when you have an equation, it is in many different forms. We've seen mx plus c. This is a slab form of a linear equation. And every equation or every function has to have this as a slope or as a gradient, as you can see. And then this is very important because it helps us to know how inclined our line will be. We will learn this in Senior 3. The next point is to know what is a simultaneous linear equation. When you have a system of equations, for example, if you have maybe 2x plus 3y equals to 5, and another one like x minus y equals to 4, as long as you have two equations at the same time, we call this as a simultaneous equation because they are two together. And in some books, you can see calling this as a system of equations. Why do we call it a system of equations? It's because it brings two equations together. It forms a set of two equations. I have one example for you of a system of equations or simultaneous equations. This example, as you can see here, we have an example. Here we have two linear equations. When you have 2x plus y equals 5, and another equation is called negative x plus y equals to 2, when we have this set of two equations, we call it a simultaneous equations because they are together. Or we can also call them as a system of linear equations. Remember, we have said linear equation gives a straight line on a graph. Now, to make your work very easy, what you do, you need to name your equations. I can name this one as 1, and this one I call it 2. It means as long as you have two equations, they are forming for me what we call a system of equations. In other words, together they are a system of linear equations. I hope you've understood this. Now, there is a problem you have to ask yourself. Can you discover the values of x and y yourself? Can you? Why do we need to find the value of x and y? It's because if we have seen that a linear equation gives a straight line, maybe if I consider this ruler as a straight line, and if I consider another line, maybe this other straight line, when I am having them like this, at the end of the day, I need to see the point where these two lines are intersecting from. When we have this point of intersection, you remember every point has to go with the coordinates. If I have a point, like for example, point A with x and y, and of course, x like 1 and this one is 2, I will design my point or locate my point on a Cartesian plane and see where it is located. It means if I have this straight line and another straight line, and I get the point of intersection, this point of intersection will help us to verify both lines at the same time. We will see at the end. Now, when you have, for example, this equation, 2x plus y equals 5 and minus x plus y equals 2, we need to solve these equations. And we have so many different methods you can use when you're solving a linear, simultaneous linear equations. We will see so in the next lesson. We have around 4 methods you can use. You can use what you call a straight line graph method. You can use what you call elimination method. You can use comparison methods. And you can use another one called substitution methods. As I have listed them here, we have elimination method, substitution method, comparison method, and a straight line graph method. Now, today we are going to use one of the methods, not all of them because of time. We will be using a straight line graph method to solve this example we have here. Now, if you have already named your equations, this one is called 1, and this one is called 2. Naming them, it helps you to track the line of every single equation you have. Let's do it together. Remember, I told you, whenever you are drawing a line, you need to have a graph paper. You may have of this form or any other form of a graph paper. Now, let me press up this one, and then we solve it together. We solve it together. We solve it together. Here it is. When you are solving simultaneous linear equations, it means you are looking for the value of x and y. That's what I was explaining when I have been showing you these two straight lines. If they are meeting somewhere, you need to find the value of this point. And this point will verify every single line as you have them over here. Let's do it together. You see, we have equation number 1, and we have the second one. Remember I told you every point needs the coordinates. When you are looking for the coordinates, you need to use these tables. We have the value of x and the value of y. You give yourself some values. Let's say x is equal to 0. Okay? I want you to do something. We are going to look for the coordinates of the point that will help us to locate our line on a graph paper. We have now x and y. And remember, we are on equation number 1. On equation number 1, it is 2x plus y equals 5. And if I say x is equal to 0, you will bring this value and press it in where x is. I will get 2, then times 0 plus y equals 5. 2 times 0 is equal to 0. Plus y equals 5. It means if x is equal to 0, y will be equal to 5. What if x is equal to 1? Let's verify. Can I give you a short time and you work on that? I hope you will make it because you've seen how we've done the first one. Have some few seconds and you work on that. You tell me how y will be equal. I hope you've seen that. We have 2x plus y equals 5. Let's put 1 here in the place of x. Times 2, then plus y equals to 5. What do we have over here? It's 2 plus y equals 5. And then I bring this 2 on the other side. I remain with y equals to 5 minus 2. Do you remember this concept? Whenever you have a number on the one side and you want to take it on the other side, it changes a sign. We've learned this in the senior one. And then you have y equals to 3. You see? Whenever x is equal to 1, y will be equal to 3. There is something you also have to remember. To draw a line, you need at least the 2 points. They are very enough for you to be able to draw a line on a Cartesian plane. So far we have now 2 points. You can look for more, but it's enough for us to manage our time. Now these are the coordinates of our line. And you can even write them. 0, 5, and here you have 1 and 3. So we are going to locate our points on our graph as we have it here. Do you see the graph paper? Let's try it together. Here you are. We have point 1 to 0 and 5. Where is 0? 0 is over here. Okay? We have another point, 5 on y. Where 5 is here. Now, this is the point called A. I can name it. There is no problem. It's called 0 and 5. Let's look at the second point. It is 1 and 3. 1 on x and 3 on y. It's up like this. This is another point B called 1 and 3. You see? Now you have this line. Beautiful line here in green color. This is the line given by equation number 1, which is called 2x plus y equals to 5. We are done with the first line. Let's go to the second line. The second line for line 2, it's negative x plus y equals to 2. Yes, you use also the table in order to see the coordinates of the point. Here is x, and here they are the coordinates. If x is equal to 0, you put 0 here. What do you get? You have negative x plus y equals to 2. This is 0 plus y equals to 2. Y will be equal to 2. Let's say x is equal to 1. It will be negative 1, and then it will be negative 1 plus y equals to 2. Y will be equal to 3. We have now 1 here, and we have 3. Here we have 0 and 2, and here we have 1 and 3. Let's look at also this line on our Cartesian plane. It's better to use a different color so that you can see this pretty well. Let me use a red color. We have point number 1. It is 0 and 2. 0 and 2. 0 on x and 2 on y. We have also another point. It's called 1 on x and 3 on y. So far we have this point. It is 0 and 2. And we have another point called maybe B prime. This one, A prime. It's called 1 and 3. So we have our line over here. Like this. Like this. This is our line. This is the line given by this equation. X minus x plus y equals to 2. Have you seen what I have been telling you? When you are solving a simultaneous linear equations, you are looking for intersection of those two lines. Let me assume that this one is the green one, and this one is the red one. Do you see? I have been looking for this point of intersection, and this point solves both equations. I guess you've understood this. Now, I'm going to give you another one example, and I give you some minutes, then you discuss it together. Then we will also solve it together. Here it is. This is the second example that I have for you. Do you see it? I hope so. This is the second example that we'll do together. But before, I want you to try, and then we come up together and we solve it. Now we have example number 2. Solve the pair of simultaneous linear equations by straight line graph methods. Remember, I told you we have so many different methods you can use when you're solving a simultaneous linear equation, or in some books we call them system of equations. Now, I have told you we have different methods. We have straight line graph methods, we have elimination methods, we have substitution methods, and we can use comparison methods. When you have a question and you use all those different methods, you will get one solution which can solve all those two equations as they are given. Now, you try this example. Just try it down. I'll be glad to see you coming up with a very nice solution to me. Try it. It's solve the pair of simultaneous linear equations by straight line graph methods. This is the graph methods. We will learn other different methods later. The equation is 2x plus y equals 4. Another one is called x is equal to y minus 1. So have a short time. Then we do it together. Remember all the concepts we use. Remember to name them so that you can keep a track of the given points for each and every equation you have. I hope you've done something. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. We have 1, it is 2x plus y equals to 4. You see the first one? I can name it as 1. We have another one called x equals to y minus 1. And I can name it as equation number 2. But let me ask you something. Is it okay with the way they are written? Check them very well. Remember how it has to be written so that you may be able to solve. As you can see, the first one is okay, but the second one you need to change something so that it may have a form of the first one. How can I arrange my second equation? It's very easy. This is the solution. We have 2x plus y equals to 4. This is equation number 1. And this one, remember, I have to write it on this form as this first one is written. Now, I have x. It has to keep being here. There is no problem. And I have y here, but it's on the other side. I need to bring it over here. When I bring, check the sign of y here. Which sign is here? Can you tell me? Yes, it is positive. When it comes here, it will be negative. I think you remember that concept. Now we have negative y equals negative 1. 1 has to remain over there. There is no problem. And then this is our equation number 2. You see? Now we have them written in the same way. It will be very easy for you to work on it. Let's go ahead. Now, what about equation number 1? If we look for the coordinates of the point that can verify this first equation. Let's work on it. Remember, we have to use a table. Let me use this table. We have x, we have y. If x is equal to 0, you put 0 over here. 2 times 0 equals 0. And I have over here y. And it's equal to 4. You see? When x is equal to 0, y will be equal to 4. I'm now done with the first point. Let's do something and find the second point. What if x is equal to 1? If x is equal to 1, it will be 2 times 1, and I get 2, you see, plus y equals 4. Have you seen this? And then here we have y equals to 4 minus 2. And then y is equal to 2. You see? Whenever x is equal to 1, y will be equal to 2. I'm done with the 2 points that I need. The first one has these coordinates. It has these coordinates. Here we have 0 and 4, and here we have 1 and 2. Let's do the same on the second equation, no problem, and we draw them together. We have x, that is for equation number 2. We have x minus y negative 1. How do we do this? The table, still that's the one we use. We have x and y. Let's say x is equal to 0. We put 0 over here. 0, of course, we have 0 here. And we have negative y equals to negative 1. Do you see something? They are of the same sign. I can cancel this sign by multiplying negative 1 on both sides. And then I remain with y, which is equal to 1. This is my point number 1. Point number 2, let's say x is equal to 1. It will be 1 minus y equals to negative 1. And then I will be having negative y equals to negative 1. Then 1 comes this side, it changes the sign, and I get negative 1. Then negative 1 will be equal to negative 2. And they are of the same size, I cancel, and I get y, which is equal to 2. This is 1 and 2. We are done with the coordinates of our points. Let's plot them over here. Simple. Now, we have this. And we have also this. Do you see? This is y, and this is x. Let's now look at this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is -1, you see? And this is -2, -3. We have 1 over here, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. Let's press our points over there. It was 0 and 4. 0 on x and 4 on y. It's here. 0 and 4. We have another point. It is 1 and 2. 1 and 2. It's here. 1 and 2. We have another point. This is for line number 1. Let's draw it by using a different color. Let's use the green color. This is the green color. You see? Our line number 1. Let's go to line number 2. We have 0 and 1. 0 here, 0 on x and 1 on y. We have also 1 on x and 2 on y. We have 0 and 1 is here. And we get the line that comes like this. Sorry, a little bit tiny, but you can observe so. This is for our line number 2. Now, it means the point where they are intersecting. What is the point of intersection? It is 1 and 2. This one helps us to solve all those 2 equations. Here I have a homework for you. You can now write it down. And after that, I'll give you a summary of what we've been learning. There is a homework. You solve. They are like the ones we've been doing. Write them down. We have solved the simultaneous equation as it is given over here. You solve the pairs of this one. You see it looks like this. They are of the same way they are written, but they are okay. Number 3, it solves the pair of simultaneous linear equations by the straight line graph method. Remember, I told you we are using a straight line graph method, not any other method today. We will be learning other methods next time. And we have the last question is like the other ones, only that the numbers are different. You draw graph to solve these equations as they are written over here. And the page, it's page 58 in the book of Mathematics Senior 2. You can check more exercises over there. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. It's very nice. After learning this unit, we will also see where it's applicable in everyday life. You can be in a race, maybe you and maybe a horse. When you are in a race, they can say, this one has to go this way, and you go in this way. Then you see where you are intersecting from. So, as I can summarize this, we've been learning about simultaneous linear equations. We can also call them system of equations. I hope you've written your homework over there. Now, you can use different methods to solve them, but our focus of today, it was to know what is an equation, what is simultaneous linear equation, and how can I solve a simultaneous linear equation using a straight line graph method. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson of today. Thank you very much. Keep writing the homework. You finish, you try them when you're at home, you work on them, get many exercises in many different books. Even there are some websites you can check, maybe on the web website. There are so many content there. You can check many exercises and even use some other books. Thank you very much. I will see you then. Thank you.